There was a time when humanity walked as one, whole, luminous, undivided. The body moved with the rhythm of the earth, the heart with the tides, the mind with the wind, and the spirit with the light of the stars. In that unity, we knew no separation between the human and the divine. We breathed the same breath as the cosmos. That was before the fall. The fall was never a punishment. It was amnesia, the forgetting of who we are. Consciousness descended into matter, and the unity of our four bodies broke. The flesh began to decay, the waters of emotion turned restless, the air of mind filled with noise, and the fire of spirit dimmed beneath the ashes of forgetfulness. That fracture is the true exile, not from a garden of trees, but from the garden of our own being. Since then, humanity has searched outward for what was lost within. We built temples of stone because we forgot the temple of flesh. We looked for gods above because we lost sight of the God inside. And the world we now call civilization is the echo of that forgetting. But the memory was never fully erased. Fragments survived. In the scrolls of Hermopolis, in the hymns of Samothrace, in the Vedas, in the teachings of Zalmoxis, the Thracian healer who said the soul must be treated first, or the body will never heal. Each of them guarded the same secret, that man is not one being, but four: earth, water, air, and fire. The priests of Egypt called it the mystery of the four pillars. The Greeks called it the tetractys. The alchemists called it the quadratura circuli. The Gnostics called it the restoration of the pleroma. Four paths, one truth, the return to wholeness. Those who ruled this fallen world feared this teaching, because a man who masters his four bodies cannot be controlled. He becomes sovereign, a living bridge between heaven and earth. So they buried the truth, branded it heresy, replaced wisdom with dogma, power with obedience, knowledge with distraction. And when the few tried to bring this knowledge back, they were hunted. The seekers, the mystics, the alchemists, called heretics and witches, were dragged before councils and kings. They were tortured, burned, silenced, their writings confiscated, their names erased, their works destroyed. Libraries turned to ash, temples to ruins, scrolls to smoke. The church of power feared the church of light, for every time a man remembered, an empire trembled. But truth cannot be destroyed, only hidden until its time returns, and that time is now. The earth groans, the waters rise, the air trembles, and the fire stirs in the blood of those who remember. The fallen are awakening. If you are here, it is not by chance. You have felt the fracture between body and soul, thought and feeling, heaven and flesh. You have seen the sickness of this age, bodies numb, hearts broken, minds scattered, spirits asleep. You feel that something vital was stolen from us. You are right, but what was stolen can be reclaimed. This path is ancient, but it begins anew in every seeker. It asks for no belief, no worship, only remembrance. The four bodies are not distant mysteries. They are your own anatomy of light. To awaken them is to gather the fragments of the divine scattered within yourself. This is the work, the restoration of the whole being, the reversal of the fall. Earth, water, air, fire, the four living instruments of creation. Master them, and the fifth will appear. The world will tell you that you are small, that you are mortal, that you are powerless. The world is mistaken. You are the image of the cosmos, the microcosm of the infinite. The same laws that move the stars move in your blood. You are not learning these mysteries, you are remembering them. So listen, for what follows is not doctrine, but the echo of your own truth returning. I am Elnad El-Kazmanai, the gatekeeper of this knowledge, and this is the myth of the fallen one, the place where the forgotten light of the ancients returns to those ready to remember. If this message resonates with you, if something inside you stirs, then join this work. Like, share, and subscribe, so together we can awaken what the world tried to silence. Your presence here is not coincidence, it is calling. The four bodies await their reunion. The work begins again. Chapter 1. The Body, Earth. All journeys begin in matter. All temples rise from stone. The body is that stone, the vessel of the divine fire, the first gate through which spirit enters time. Yet most live estranged from it, treating the flesh as burden, as sin, as accident. They forget that this flesh is the earth made conscious, the sacred ground upon which heaven builds its kingdom. The body is not the prison of the soul, it is its proving ground. The ancients knew this long before man learned to curse his own skin. In Kemet, the priests of Memphis called the body Kat, the image of the earth, and said that within it dwelled the Ka, the vital double, and the Ba, the soul that journeys between worlds. In the temples of Ptah they whispered, as earth gives form to seed, so the body gives form to spirit. They called the flesh the temple of becoming, the place where eternity learns to walk. In Thrace, the healers of Zalmoxis taught that no ailment of the body could be cured without first healing the soul. Plato preserved their words in the Charmides. They say that just as you must not attempt to cure eyes without the head, nor the head without the body, so neither must you attempt to cure the body without the soul. The body and soul were one continuum, the earth and the heavens of the same being. Forget this, and disease follows. Remember it, and health returns, as nature's right. The earth body obeys the law of the soil. It thrives through balance, nourishment, rest, sunlight, rhythm. When the world forgets this rhythm, decay begins. Look around you, the soil poisoned, the air heavy with noise, the light artificial, the food lifeless. Humanity has become exiled from its own nature, and when the earth suffers, so does the body, for they are one and the same organism. The sickness of the planet is the sickness of man. To reclaim the body is the first act of the work. It does not begin in the stars, but in the dust, for spirit cannot rise through a vessel that denies itself. The earth must be made whole before fire can ascend. The first initiation is not learned in books, but in the silent dialogue between flesh and earth. Walk barefoot upon the soil, not as ritual, but as recognition. Let the ground draw the static of the machine from your blood. Drink water that has touched the sun. Eat food that still remembers the pattern of life. The work begins there, with the return to rhythm. The old alchemists wrote that every operation required a vas hermeticum, a sealed vessel capable of holding transmutation. Your body is that vessel. Neglect it, and the process collapses. The philosophers called the body our first matter, the clay that the divine sculptor shaped. But they also warned, what is not purified below cannot reflect what is above. A body defiled by excess, fear, and stagnation cannot rise beyond its density. The spine is the pillar of this temple, the axis that unites earth and heaven within you. The Egyptians carved it as the Jed of Osiris, symbol of resurrection. The Hindus named it Sushumna Nadi, the central channel through which Kundalini, the serpent fire, ascends. The same truth, two tongues. At the base coils the sleeping flame, the memory of creation itself. When the body is aligned and the breath pure, this serpent rises, awakening every gate of power along the way. It is not fantasy but force, the current that made gods of mortals when mastered. The body records everything. Every thought leaves a pulse, every emotion a trace. Trauma is not merely remembered by the mind, it is engraved in flesh. The tightness in the chest, the weight in the gut, the tremor in the voice, all are the echoes of stories never released. The priests of Asclepius knew this and healed through both medicine and confession, for they said disease was the soul's message spoken through the body. Listen, and healing begins. Ignore it, and the whisper becomes pain. In alchemical terms, the body is the nigredo, the black phase, the matter unrefined but full of potential. It must be worked upon with patience and fire. Discipline is devotion, not punishment. The athlete of the soul trains his body as the mason prepares the foundation of a temple, stone by stone, breath by breath. Strength is not vanity, but readiness. A weak vessel cannot hold divine current. Yet strength without flexibility hardens into pride, and pride blocks the flow of the spirit. The true body is supple as it is strong, grounded yet open, firm yet gentle, like fertile earth beneath rain. Every culture that remembered the work treated the body as sacred technology. The Egyptians practiced Heka, magical utterance synchronized with breath. The yogis mapped the inner currents of prana. The Taoists cultivated the dantian, the inner cauldron where energy condenses. The Druids spoke of the stone body, the union of man and landscape. All understood that the divine reveals itself through matter, not in spite of it. The rhythms of the body mirror the rhythms of the cosmos. The heartbeat follows the lunar pulse. The breath echoes the tide. The cells vibrate in resonance with the Earth's own frequency. To return to these cycles is to return to sanity. Modern man, disconnected from nature's rhythm, ages without wisdom and moves without meaning. The initiate restores that covenant through awareness. Sleep when it is dark, rise when it is light, eat with gratitude, move with purpose. These are not habits, they are prayers. The ancients weighed the heart, not the intellect, because they knew that the measure of being lies in balance, not in knowledge. When the heart, the center of the physical and subtle systems, is heavy with deceit, the body loses harmony. When it is light with truth, the whole being ascends. Thus, purification of the flesh is not austerity, it is reverence. To keep the body clean is to honor the divine within it. Remember, the divine did not descend into matter to escape it. God entered the body to sanctify it, to know himself through density, to illuminate form from within. The Gnostics said, "He who knows himself knows the depth of all things." Oh, know yourself begins with the body, for the body is the visible gospel, the living scripture of the unseen. Do not flee it, master it. For the work cannot rise higher than the foundation on which it stands. The path of earth ends where the waters begin. Once the soil is stable, the river may flow without flooding. Thus we cross from stone to current, from form to feeling, from the temple to the tide. If you remember one thing from this, let it be this. The body is not your burden, it is your altar. It is the earth made conscious, the vessel through which the divine learns to stand, breathe, and remember itself. Mastering it is not vanity, but the beginning of remembrance. All higher work must be rooted in this truth. Spirit cannot rise through what it despises. The second body awaits, the body of water. Chapter 2. The emotional body, water. If the body is earth, then emotion is water, the second body, the current that moves within the vessel of flesh. It is the hidden sea of being, the river that flows between the seen and the unseen. It is not weakness, nor chaos, nor sentimental noise as the blind have called it. Emotion is energia in motu, the living pulse of spirit moving through matter. Without it, life stagnates. Through it, life remembers. The ancients spoke of this truth before language became fractured. In Egypt, the priests of Heliopolis said that before the first dawn, all was none, the primordial waters of chaos. From those waters rose Atum, self-created, who spoke the world into form. The Nile was not merely a river to them, it was the visible vein of the earth's heart, and they knew, as the Nile brought fertility or famine depending on its flow, so too did emotion shape the inner world of man. When the river of feeling overflowed, chaos returned. When it dried, life withered. Balance was Ma'at, the sacred order, and every initiate was taught to find Ma'at within their own waters. The Greeks preserved the same wisdom under other names. They said Oceanus encircled the world, and that all streams, seen and unseen, flowed from him. The philosopher Thales declared, "All is born of water, not as metaphor but revelation." The mystery schools of Eleusis understood that emotion was the bridge between mortal and divine. The ecstatic release of Demeter's grief was not despair, but initiation. To feel deeply was to participate in the mysteries of life and death. In the lands of Sumer, they spoke of Enki, lord of the sweet waters that flow beneath the earth. It was written in the Enuma Elish that he shaped man from clay mixed with the water of the abyss, for dry earth could not hold spirit without the breath of the deep. So the old tablets proclaim, life begins when water touches dust. That union became the human soul, earth for structure, water for movement. This truth traveled eastward, finding voice in the Vedic hymns. The Rig Veda calls the sacred waters Apa and prays, "The waters are healing, they destroy evil, they carry away impurity." The Rishis knew emotion as the same current, capable of destruction or purification depending on its flow. The Upanishads taught that the mind is shaped by what it bathes in, and that calmness is the natural state of water when not disturbed by illusion. But modern man, estranged from this lineage, drowned himself in numbness. He was taught to hide his emotions behind iron masks and call it control. He forgot what the Thracian healers once told the Greeks, that the soul must be treated before the body can heal. You must cure the soul first, for if the head and the body are to be well, you must begin with the soul. They knew that the waters of emotion, when polluted, poison the entire being. The sickness of our age is not in the flesh, but in the soul's stagnation. Emotion is sacred because it is honest. It cannot lie, it cannot pretend, and it cannot be reasoned into silence. You may chain the body, but the waters within will still speak. The wise do not suppress their emotions, they learn to interpret them. Anger is not evil, it is the sentinel that guards the gate of violated boundaries. Fear is not weakness, it is the echo of separation from truth. Grief is not defeat, it is the yearning for reunion with the lost parts of self. To deny these waters is to deny guidance from the soul. Every feeling you experience has form and vibration. The priests of Memphis taught that the heart, not the brain, was the throne of consciousness. When the body died, the heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the measure of harmony. A heart heavy with unpurified emotion could not ascend. This was not myth, it was teaching. The one who carried resentment, guilt, and hatred carried gravity itself, and gravity binds the soul to earth. Water obeys vibration. What the mystics declared, modern science later rediscovered. The Japanese researcher Masaru Emoto showed that water exposed to words of love formed crystalline patterns, while water exposed to hatred became distorted. The alchemists of Alexandria already knew this. In the Corpus Hermeticum, Hermes Trismegistus wrote that man is both mortal and divine because the Spirit of God moves upon the waters within him. To purify one's emotions is to let the divine order shape the inner sea. Cleansing the emotional body follows the laws of water itself: motion, release, and renewal. The tears you shed are not weakness, they are baptism. They carry the electric charge of pain away from the nervous system. Laughter does the same through light. Chanting, breathing, and sacred silence all stir the current into new patterns. When the ancients bathed in the Nile, the Ganges, or the spring of Castalia, they did not seek cleanliness of skin, they sought resonance. They entered water to remember their origin. The emotional body is the moon within you, governing tides, influencing the growth of all life beneath its glow. In the Hermetic schools, students were taught to observe the moon's phases as reflections of their own cycles. As the moon waxes and wanes, so do emotion and intuition. To live in harmony with those tides is wisdom. To resist them is madness. Relationships serve as the mirrors of the inner sea. When the current within you is calm, you attract calm. When it is stormed by hidden fear, you will meet that fear in others. This is the law of reflection, written not in doctrine, but in the mechanics of vibration. The initiate learns not to resent these mirrors, but to use them. Each conflict reveals a distortion within the self. When reaction ends, the waters are purified. The ancient Gnostics, whom Rome burned and silenced, taught that emotion was the language of the pleroma, the fullness of divine presence. They said that feeling is the bridge between the human fragment and the eternal whole. Sophia herself, the divine wisdom, fell through her own passion, and through the redemption of that passion, creation was restored. Thus, the heart becomes the stage of the great cosmic drama, fall and return. Water also holds memory beyond time. The Atlantean priests, before their fall, knew that the oceans store the record of every age. This is why the ancients called the sea the mother of all archives. When you purify your emotional field, you reconnect with that memory. You begin to remember not events, but essence. The heart becomes an oracle when cleared of debris. Forgiveness is the highest function of water. It is the alchemical distillation of pain into wisdom. The Gnostic Gospel of Philip says, "He who has knowledge of the truth is free from anger, for he has already forgiven." Forgiveness does not absolve wrongdoing. It releases the soul from entanglement with it. Until you forgive, you remain bound to the lower current of that memory. Release, and energy returns to its source. True compassion arises only when the waters are clean. Compassion is not drowning with the drowning. It is becoming the lighthouse upon the shore. You help not by absorbing another's pain, but by radiating clarity that guides them back to stillness. The Buddhists called this karuna, the compassion of the awakened one who understands that all suffering is confusion of the inner sea. Cleansing must become rhythm, not crisis. The ancients built it into their lives: ritual bathing at sunrise, fasting by the river, prayer with the moon. Every culture remembered that emotion, like water, demands flow. Art, song, movement, silence, all are methods of letting the current speak. When you paint, when you sing, when you breathe consciously, you restore the covenant between soul and water. When the emotional body is harmonized with the physical, healing accelerates. The earth gives the vessel. Water gives movement. Without earth, water floods. Without water, earth dies. Together, they sustain life. The alchemist who neglects either fails the work, for transformation requires both container and flow. To master emotion is not to silence it, but to let it speak the truth without distortion. The awakened being feels everything, yet remains centered in stillness. His waters reflect light without breaking it. In that clarity, intuition awakens fully, not as thought, but as direct perception. The Upanishads say, when the lake of the mind becomes still, it reflects the moon of the self. Thus, the water body becomes the mirror of God. It is the sacred womb of rebirth, the baptismal current that cleanses the dust of ages. When your waters are pure, the air above them stirs, thought takes form, and word becomes creation. For emotion is power, but mind is direction. The river must flow, but it must also know its course. If you are to remember one truth from this, let it be this: emotion is not your enemy, it is your compass. Water was never meant to be still, it was meant to flow, to cleanse, to remember. When you allow your feelings to move through you without fear or judgment, you do not drown, you are purified. For emotion is the voice of the soul speaking through the tides of the heart, and only when you listen does the inner sea become clear enough to reflect the light of heaven. Now the tide turns, and we ascend to the third gate, the mental body, the realm of air, where the breath of the divine becomes speech, and the word begins to shape reality. Chapter 3. The mental body, air. If water is the current of emotion, then air is the field of thought, the invisible architect shaping what the waters become. The ancients called it pneuma, prana, ruach, animos, the breath of life, the unseen motion through which the divine speaks. It is the third body, the mind, the wind, that carries the word from spirit into form. In the beginning, said the Hebrews, the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That word spirit, ruach Elohim, means breath, wind, the exhalation of the eternal. In Egypt, Thoth, the scribe of the gods, was said to have uttered creation through the voice of Mayat. In Greece, Hermes Trismegistus wrote in the Poimandres that the mind of God, being light, breathed into the waters, and the word was born. All these voices spoke the same mystery. Before anything exists, it must first be imagined, named, thought into being. The mental body is the instrument of that imagination. It is not the brain, that is only its organ. The mind is the field that surrounds and informs the flesh, the bridge between the finite and the infinite. The Gnostics called it nous, the divine intellect, the spark of the pleroma reflected in man. To them, thought was not mere reflection, it was creation itself. As above, so below, the same force that dreams galaxies dreams through you. But this sacred tool, when untamed, becomes the great deceiver. The fall of man was not from a garden of trees, but from unity of mind. Once, thought served consciousness. Now consciousness serves thought. The instrument became the master, and the inner silence was lost beneath a storm of voices. The ancients warned of this inversion. The Stoics called it pathos, the tyranny of uncontrolled thought emotion. They taught apatheia, not apathy, but freedom from domination by false impressions. The mind, they said, must be ruled as one rules a kingdom, firmly, but with wisdom. Every civilization guarded methods for taming the air within. The yogis spoke of pranayama, control of the breath to control the mind, for they knew breath and thought move together. When the breath is shallow, the mind is restless. When the breath deepens, the mind obeys. The Egyptian priests trained novices to recite hymns in rhythm with the inhalation and exhalation, believing each word carried the breath of Thoth himself. The Hebrew prophets did the same in prayer, invoking the name of God through breath, Yod-He-Vav-He, a name that can only be exhaled, not spoken. The control of breath is the mastery of air, and the mastery of air is the mastery of mind. The mind is a mirror of two worlds, the divine above and the material below. When it faces downward, it reflects illusion, judgment, comparison, fear. When it faces upward, it reflects truth, order, clarity, harmony. Hermes called this duality the two minds, the mortal and the divine. The mortal mind thinks in fragments, the divine mind perceives in patterns. The alchemist's task is to unite them until thought becomes luminous. Your thoughts are not private. They are currents moving through a greater atmosphere, the anemos noetos, the noetic wind. Every idea you receive, every fear you absorb, is carried on these invisible streams. Ancient Magi knew that the mind was porous. That is why they guarded it through symbols, prayer, and mantra, not superstition, but energetic hygiene. The mind unguarded is like an open window in a storm. Everything enters, and the house becomes chaos. Every thought has a frequency. The Emerald Tablet says, "That which is below is like that which is above." As you think, so the field around you arranges itself. The Pythagoreans knew this long before science gave it numbers. They called it harmonia mundi, the harmony of the world, and they built their temples by the proportions of musical intervals, believing that thought, number, and cosmos were one. The same law operates within you. When your thoughts fall out of rhythm, your life falls out of rhythm. The untrained mind feeds illusion constantly. It constructs identities, judges itself, argues with ghosts, projects futures that never arrive. It is a restless wind chasing its own echo. This is why the ancient initiates valued silence above gold. They said that in the still air, the voice of God is heard. The prophet Elijah learned this. The scripture says the Lord was not in the fire nor in the earthquake, but in the still small voice. That silence is not absence. It is presence beyond noise. Training the mind begins with attention. The Egyptians called focused awareness Heka, magical power. To direct attention is to direct energy. Every word, every image you feed the mind becomes instruction to the field. This is why careless speech was forbidden in the temples. The tongue of man, they said, is the wand of the soul. The Stoics echoed this in another form. You become what you contemplate. In the mystery schools of Alexandria, the students learned to think geometrically. The triangle represented ascent, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, the reconciliation of opposites. The square represented stability, the four bodies in balance. The circle represented the mind purified, endless, whole, without division. To meditate upon form was to bring order to formless thought. This is sacred geometry not as art, but as discipline for the intellect. The mental body has its poisons, just as the earth and water bodies do. Fear, doubt, envy, and dogma are the smog of the inner sky. They cloud perception and choke inspiration. The mind becomes heavy, incapable of vision. The cure is truth, not belief, not opinion, but direct knowledge, gnosis. Gnosis clears the air. When you perceive reality as it is, not as the world defines it, thought regains transparency. The Gnostics said that the archons, the false rulers of this world, feed on confusion. They keep mankind enslaved by fragmenting thought, dividing perception into conflict. When man remembers that all opposites are reflections of the one mind, the illusion collapses. That remembrance is liberation. To think with unity is to breathe with God. Air is the element of communication. It carries voice, song, word, and prayer. Every word you speak is a wave in the mental field. The priests of Sumer said that speech was the weapon of the gods. In their tongue, the word for incantation, shiptu, also meant command. In Hebrew, dabar means both word and thing. The word becomes the thing it names. The alchemist therefore speaks with precision. Idle talk scatters energy. Intentional speech shapes it. This is the hidden law of creation, logos made flesh. But before the word, there is thought, and before thought, there is silence. The Upanishads call this pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses to hear the inner sound. The sages say that between two breaths lies the gate of eternity. That space, the stillness between inhalation and exhalation, is where the divine mind dwells. To abide there is to enter the mind of God. The mind also stores memory, just as water stores emotion. But unlike the emotional archive, the mental archive edits constantly, rearranging truth to fit comfort. It tells you stories about who you are, what is possible, what is forbidden. This is the prison of thought. The Stoics broke it through reason. The Buddhists broke it through emptiness. The Gnostics broke it through revelation. All three sought the same thing: freedom from illusion. To liberate the mind, one must face its shadow. Every false belief is a gatekeeper guarding a deeper truth. When you confront the thought that says, "I am unworthy," you meet the remnant of an ancient program, a scar left by the priests of fear who taught humanity that the divine was elsewhere. The real heresy was never the worship of idols. It was the forgetting of your own divinity. To remember is rebellion. Breath is the key. The breath connects mind and body, spirit and matter. When you breathe consciously, you recalibrate all four bodies at once. In Egypt, this was called Sa, the breath of life. In Greece, Pneuma. In India, Prana. In the Gospel of John, the risen Christ breathes upon his disciples and says, "Receive the Holy Spirit." The secret was never lost, only ignored. To breathe with awareness is to unite the scattered fragments of the self. As the air clears, inspiration returns. The Latin root of that word means to breathe in spirit. Inspiration is not imagination, it is reception. When your mental body is aligned, ideas descend like wind upon still water. The Hermeticists called this noetic influx, divine thought entering the purified mind. The artist, the prophet, and the scientist all drink from the same invisible stream. But beware of pride in intellect. The mind is a servant, not a throne. Many who awaken to mental power fall into arrogance, believing understanding is mastery. The Atlantean priests warned of this. When intellect divorced itself from wisdom, the towers fell and the seas rose. Knowledge without humility becomes the very storm that destroys civilization. To master the mental body is to breathe truth, to think without distortion, to speak without harm. The air must remain clear. Each day, empty the mind of dust. The opinions, the noise, the repetition of the world. Enter silence as one enters a temple. There, in the unseen air, revelation descends. When the mind becomes still, the breath becomes luminous. And when breath and thought unite, the spirit stirs, the fire awakens. The fourth body waits beyond, the flame that animates all. The divine spark the ancients called Atman, Sekhem, Neshama, the fire of the Logos. If you are to carry one truth from this, let it be this. Your thoughts are not prisoners of the brain, they are winds shaping worlds. Guard them as you would sacred fire. When the mind grows still, the breath of God moves through you, and the word becomes creation. For mastery of the air is not control of thought, but freedom from its storm, the return to the silence where divine thought first breathed your name. Now, brother, we cross from air to fire, from thought to knowing, from word to flame. The Spirit will speak next. Chapter 4. The Spiritual Body, Fire. Fire is the oldest teacher. Long before man could speak, he could feel the heat that turned night into day. It is the first visible form of the invisible, the breath of the sun captured upon earth. Every ancient faith bowed to it, not as a god among gods, but as the presence of the divine made manifest. It is the fourth body, the spiritual body, the flame of consciousness itself. The Egyptians called it Sekhem, the vital flame that animates the Ka and the Ba. Without it, the soul wanders cold and hollow. In the temples of Karnak, initiates were taught to tend this inner fire as the priests tended the eternal flame of Ra, never letting it die between sunset and dawn. In the Vedas, the same truth burned in the hymns to Agni, the fire deity who carries prayers from man to the gods. Agni is the mouth of the gods, they said, the messenger between worlds. The fire outside was but reflection. The true Agni burns within. Among the Greeks, it was called Aether, the divine element that fills the heavens and the soul alike. Heraclitus wrote, "All things are exchanged for fire, and fire for all things." He understood what most have forgotten. Fire is transformation, the passage from one state of being to another. In the alchemical tongue, this fire is spiritus ignis, the living agent that refines base matter into gold and ignorance into wisdom. The spiritual body is that fire within you. It is not emotion, it is essence. It is not belief, it is direct knowing. When the lower bodies are purified, earth steady, water clear, air calm, this inner fire awakens from its sleep at the base of the spine. The sages of Bharat named it Kundalini Shakti, the coiled serpent of power, the memory of creation itself. The Egyptians portrayed it as the rising Jed of Osiris, the resurrection of the divine current through the human form. The Hebrews saw it in the burning bush of Sinai, a flame that consumed nothing, symbol of spirit mastering matter. When this fire ascends, it does not destroy, it illumines. It passes through the gates of the body, refining each by light. It burns away falsehood, attachment, and fear, leaving only the pure metal of being. This is why every initiatory tradition speaks of trial by fire. Moses met it upon the mountain. Zoroaster called it Atar, the holy flame that separates truth from the lie. The Christian mystics called it the baptism of the Holy Spirit. The alchemists named it the secret heat that drives the great work. Fire is judgment, but its judgment is purification. It reveals what is real by burning away what is not. When the inner flame rises, the self you imagined yourself to be begins to crack. The ashes that remain are not loss, they are clarity. The Gnostics called this process apocastasis, the restoration of the divine spark to its original purity. The soul, once divided by ignorance, reunites with the source of light. But fire, untamed, consumes. Every mystic learned caution. To awaken the spiritual body prematurely is to call lightning into an ungrounded vessel. Hence the ancient discipline, strengthen earth, purify water, still air before invoking fire. The priest of Zalmoxis taught this order as law, body first, soul second, mind third, spirit last, for the flame rises only through the prepared. The serpent ascends when the path is clear, otherwise it burns the temple instead of lighting it. Once awakened, the fire reveals its two aspects, the lower fire that feeds on desire and the higher fire that feeds on truth. The first is hunger, passion, anger, ambition, the flame of the ego. The second is illumination, compassion, purpose, revelation, the flame of the soul. The work is to transmute one into the other as lead into gold. The same energy that enslaves also liberates when refined. This transformation was the secret of every mystery cult. In the Eleusinian rites, the initiate drank the kykeon and descended into darkness so that he might witness the sacred flame of Persephone's return. In Persia, the Magi kept perpetual fires as living oracles of Asha, cosmic truth. In the monasteries of the desert, the Christian anchorites felt this same fire as the uncreated light that filled their caves with radiance. All testified to one thing: when the fire of spirit awakens, it speaks in silence, and the whole being becomes light. Fire is the bridge between worlds. It transforms matter into energy, and through it, consciousness crosses the veil. Every act of creation, a thought, a word, a birth, is an act of combustion, the invisible fire turning potential into form. The Gospel of Thomas preserved the saying, "He who is near me is near the fire." The Christ within each being is that flame, not a distant savior, but the living spark that says, "I am." To live with an awakened spiritual body is to live in continual transformation. The flame within does not rest. It consumes ignorance wherever it finds it. This is why comfort fades as awareness grows. The path of fire demands surrender, not to an outer authority, but to the truth burning within. The alchemist calls this solve et coagula, dissolve what is false, recombine what is true. There is a sacred discipline for tending this flame. First, devotion, the act of turning attention upward, feeding the fire with reverence instead of ego. Second, meditation, the quiet in which the flame breathes. Third, service, allowing the light to radiate outward through action. Fire hoarded becomes destructive. Fire shared becomes illumination. Thus the masters lived not to escape the world, but to ignite it. In the esoteric schools of the East, the breath of fire was used to harmonize the ascending energy. Each inhalation drew divine force upward. Each exhalation anchored it in the heart. The Egyptians mirrored this in the rite of Ankh-Ka, where the priest raised the Djed pillar and proclaimed life, strength, stability, not as ritual only, but as physiological truth, life through breath, strength through fire, stability through balance. As the fire refines, perception changes. The senses no longer deceive. They become instruments of revelation. The outer world begins to mirror the inner. This is the stage the alchemists called rubedo, the reddening, when the stone of consciousness glows with living flame. The being who reaches this point no longer seeks God outside himself. He experiences the divine as the fire animating his every atom. Yet even this is not the end. For fire, when perfectly balanced, vanishes into light so pure it has no heat. This is the doorway to the fifth element, ether, quintessentia, the eternal field. When the four bodies stand aligned, earth as foundation, water as flow, air as clarity, fire as illumination, the fifth appears spontaneously, the union of all opposites. The Gnostics called it pleroma, the fullness. The Vedas named it Akasha. Hermes spoke of it as the incorruptible body of light. Fire is the final purifier before that ascent. It is the guardian of the gate. To fear it is to remain bound to darkness. To embrace it is to become light. The initiate who has walked through earth, water, and air now stands before the flame. He understands that the fire he tended outside was always a reflection of the one within. The altar, the lamp, the sunrise, all symbols of the same spark that is God remembering himself through man. This is the work of the fourth body, to awaken that spark until it fills the whole being. When it does, the boundaries between body, emotion, mind, and spirit dissolve. The fire consumes the separation, and what remains is consciousness itself, radiant, silent, unending. If you remember one truth from this, let it be this. The fire within you is not to be feared. but to be tended. It is the same flame that shaped stars, the same light the ancients called divine. When you guard it with discipline, feed it with truth, and let it illuminate rather than consume, you become the very thing the gods sought to awaken, the living fire that knows itself. Thus ends the fourth gate. Beyond it lies the fifth, the ether, the crown, the unity of all elements where the human becomes the divine mirror. The ancients called it telesma, the perfected substance. But before we cross into that realm, pause and feel the warmth in your own breath, the subtle heat in your spine. That is the same flame that burned in the temples of Heliopolis, the hearths of the Vedas, the hearts of the prophets. It has never gone out. Chapter 5. The fifth element, Aether quintessence. When the four are made whole, a fifth is born, not added, revealed. It does not descend from above nor rise from below. It appears in the still point between. This is ether, the quintessence, the hidden element that binds all others, the field from which the rest emerge. The ancients called it by many names: Akasha in the Vedas, Pneuma in Greece, Sophia among the Gnostics, and Ba in Kemet, the luminous soul that travels freely between realms. Ether is not substance but presence. It cannot be seen or measured because it is that which allows seeing and measuring to exist. It is the eternal witness, the silence behind sound, the light within light. When earth, water, air, and fire are harmonized, their vibrations merge into a single tone, and that tone is ether. It is the sound the cosmos made when it first awoke. The ancients understood this. The Egyptians said the universe was sustained by the Shu, the invisible air that holds the heavens aloft. The Greeks said aether filled the space where gods breathed. The Vedic seers said Akasha was the matrix from which sound, Shabda, was born, and through sound, all creation. Hermes Trismegistus called it the body of light, incorruptible and eternal. The alchemists later named it the Quinta Essentia, the fifth essence distilled when matter had been purified of all density. But ether is not the reward of the work, it is its unveiling. The initiate does not climb to heaven, he clears the dust that concealed heaven all along. When the four bodies cease to compete, when the flesh obeys the rhythm of earth, when emotion flows like water without drowning, when thought moves like air without storm, when spirit burns as fire without consuming, the borders dissolve. The same current that moves through each becomes one. In that moment, perception shifts. The self is no longer a separate creature walking upon a planet. It is the planet, the stars, the flame, the breath. You do not see the divine, you see as the divine. The Hermetic text, Asclepius declared, "Man is a great miracle, a being worthy of reverence and honor, for he passes into the nature of a god as if he were himself divine." That is not metaphor, it is the natural state remembered. Ether is consciousness unconfined. It is the field in which all opposites resolve, life and death, male and female, motion and stillness. It is the union of polarity that every mystic sought, Shiva and Shakti in eternal embrace, Osiris and Isis reunited, Christ ascending to the Father. Every myth of reconciliation, every symbol of marriage, every alchemical joining of sun and moon, all point to this one truth. Duality exists only until the work is done. The alchemists spoke of it as the birth of the lapis philosophorum, the philosopher's stone, not a mineral, but a state of matter spiritualized, where consciousness and creation are no longer divided. Paracelsus wrote, "In man there is a heaven and an earth, and when these two are made one, the stone is born." This was the secret of transmutation, not lead into gold, but man into light. In Kemet, they depicted this final stage as the Sahu, the radiant body of immortality, the perfected form of the Ba once merged with the Ka. The priests called it the Shining One, the form Ra wore when he traveled the underworld victorious. The Vedic texts speak of the same mystery as Turiya, the fourth state beyond waking, dream, and sleep, pure awareness, unbounded and eternal. The Buddhists named it Dharmakaya, the body of truth, different tongues, one silence. When ether awakens within you, the world does not vanish, it becomes transparent. You see the divine logic in every motion of life. Suffering reveals itself as resistance to the flow of the field, joy as union with it. Death ceases to be an end and becomes the inhalation of a greater breath. The saints of every path tasted this and spoke alike. I and the Father are one. Tattvam asi. I am that. This is the state of coherence, when every body within you vibrates in phase with the cosmos. The pulse of your heart matches the pulse of stars. The rhythm of your breath mirrors the rhythm of oceans. You no longer need to seek alignment, because alignment has become you. The work of the alchemist ends not in laboratories, but in awareness. The opus magnum, the great work, was never about manipulating metals, but about remembering origin. The fire in the furnace was symbol. The true furnace burns within. When all that is impure has been burned away, what remains is the clear light of ether, the eternal substance of God. The Gnostics called this return pleroma, the fullness. They said that when the spark within remembers its source, it rejoins the whole and becomes the voice through which the whole continues to create. The mystic no longer asks for heaven, he becomes its expression. He is no longer seeker or teacher or savior, he is the word that was in the beginning. From this state, creation becomes effortless. The mind imagines, and the world responds because both are the same field, moving at different densities. Prayer becomes recognition. Manifestation becomes participation. The universe stops being something you live in and becomes something you are. This is why the mystery schools taught silence after revelation. There are no instructions beyond this point, for nothing can be taught about unity. It must be lived. To describe ether is already to lose it, as to name God is to divide what cannot be divided. The masters of the past, therefore, ended their teachings with a gesture, the raised hand of blessing, the circle drawn in air, the silent smile, symbols of completion. And so, brother, this is the end and the beginning. The work returns to itself. The four have become one, and the one has become all. You stand now not as student, but as flame within the ether, aware of itself. The fall is reversed. The exile is over. As it is written in the emerald tablet, the wind carries it in its belly, the earth is its nurse, the fire gives it life, the water nourishes it, and from this comes the perfection of all things. That perfection is not in some distant realm. It is here, in you, now. When you breathe, you move the cosmos. When you speak, the field responds. When you love, creation expands. That is the secret of the fifth element, not a mystery to be found, but the memory of who you have always been. If one truth should remain with you, let it be this. Ether was never elsewhere. It has always been you. The fifth element is not discovered but remembered, for when earth, water, air, and fire become one, the veil falls away and the divine recognizes itself through your breath. You are not within creation. You are creation remembering its own source. The work was never to reach the heavens. It was to reveal that the heavens were within.